I give you this passport. After that, I show you my student visa, right?
Yeah.
Then
What happened?
you get my bag. Okay? You want to check
That's
it.
my,
I gave it
that's
to
my
you,
duty,
right?
That's my duty.
I gave you my bag.
So I take
right?
your bag.
Yes.
What happened?
After that,
What's the problem?
you come to me like this. You stand to me like this. You want to beat me, and you tell me in my ear.
When I told you,
You told me in my ear that I'm not Indian, right?
You are not Indian.
Yeah, I know that.
That's why I took your passport.
That's why I gave you this.
That's why I took your passport.
And why did you intimidate me?
You are
Why you want to beat
you
me?
have the Indian citizen.
Why you want to beat me?
You have to Indian.
I showed you. What's there?
This is your
Open it.
passport.
Open it. Open
your
it.
passport, but
Open the visa, please.
And I have to change it.
That's the visa.
I know. I'm an Indian.
Why do I have that visa?
Have you Indian?
What's the use of the visa?
You have an Indian citizen?
No.
No. Yes, that's why I want you.
Okay, what's the use of a visa? Thank you.
Wow, this happened in India, on a train in India, where this Indian police officer had an altercation with this black student from Africa, I think as a Ugandan, who is in India. I don't know if he's still in India or who was in India. When you talk about anti-blackness, when you talk about racism, you cannot leave India. India, most of the people who are, in the top list of racism, they have this hate on black people, or they think they're superior than black people. We have a lot of Indians in Africa. We have a lot of Indians in Kenya, but how they treat black people is somehow different. Let's watch this video.
Indians in Africa, and especially in Kenya, we all know your ancestors were brought into these lands to come and build the railway line by the British. After the British left, you guys stayed to be part of us, which was only fair because you guys deserve to be here. But please, help me beg the older generation of Indians in Kenya to stop being racist towards the Kenyan people, towards the black. Pay black people the same wages you pay your own kind for the same services offered. A lot of Kenyans are suffering in all the industries that are Indian owned because they're being treated very brutally. There's a lot of racism. Please.
Welcome back. Now, we have videos of even black Indians explaining how they are being discriminated in the society. And it's somehow awkward. But there is an Indian guy who came down here and explained, or, he reacted on, the video of anti-blackness into India. Let's watch this and then we go react on it, as we do always.
Talk about the amount of racism that most Indian people have towards black people.
You can just hear the desperate confusion in my brother's voice because it makes no sense. Think about it. You've got 54 countries that comprise Africa. Then you've got India, which is a part of this larger scale, historically, culturally, linguistically connected area that we consider South Asia. And factually speaking, there is this observable phenomenon of this anti-black, anti-African sentiment within South Asia and within its diaspora abroad. You don't even have to think that deep to see that. It makes zero fucking sense, bro. Watch this. Both regions have suffered a very similar colonial past under the same colonial powers. Both of us are living a very similar colonial present. Over the course of ancient and modern history, there's been so much cultural and economic trade between us. And not to mention, African civilizations have been harboring and giving space for Indians and other Asians to live on their lands since pre-colonial times. I'm not talking about colonial powers taking indentured laborers over there. We have evidence of shipwrecks of slave ships and Asians and Indians washing up on African shores and staying there ever since. Make it make sense, right? How can South Asians be so uncultured and not recognize these things? Especially NRIs and other South Asian groups. I don't care how many generations you've been living there, but living there and still holding anti-black, anti-African, this Indian superiority, African inferiority complex. How dare you? How? And to top it all off, Dravidians, my people, how can we be this way, knowing full well that we are considered in the same category of blackness in our own country? If you've ever been called Kalu, Karupu, Koranga, Jungli, Blackie, you know those are the exact same slurs that are used against Africans. In 2017, there was a case of racially motivated assaults against African university students in New Delhi. And here's what this motherfucker had to say about it, right? This is Tarun Vijay, by the way. He used to be a member of the Indian parliament, part of the BJP party. If you know, you know. Okay, here's what he had to say about those attacks to Al Jazeera in an interview. All right, so trying to make the case that Indians can't be racist, he says, if we were racist, why would the entire South, the Tamils, Kerala, Karnataka, and Andhra, why do we live with them? We have black people around us. I don't know what the fuck this bozo was going for. It looks like he was trying to humanize black people somehow, but it just ended up dehumanizing us alongside of them. So like, solidarity, I guess. I wish. If you don't know, phenotypically speaking, just how black Dravidian people can get, because you're looking at me, I don't get enough sun, you haven't seen me in the summertime. Here are some pictures. This is my uncle, my actual uncle, my mom's youngest brother. This is my other uncle. Here's my cousin, the one on the right with his nunba. Well, you can look at both of them for an example. Saving the best for last, here's my dad with me as a baby when he used to have hair. And he used to grow that out much thicker. It used to be a full-on afro. He and my mom met and married in Oman, where I was born. And when they were dating, people used to ask my mom all the time, "Niyan karupana or Sudani kuda ni gursuti tirigire. Unoda alagakku nalla sagapana or al kadikume." I've asked my dad, how does that make you feel? And he was like, no offense taken, because Sudanese people are beautiful. East Africans are beautiful. And I take that one step further, Africans are beautiful. And no one can be you, and that's why they want control of your bodies. So to continue with the question, if it makes no sense, why is there this anti-African sentiment in our South Asian community? So I asked myself this question. I have no idea where to start to find answers, so I just went to Google and I typed in, why are Indians racist to black people? I did that this morning after seeing the TikTok that I'm stitching, and I found this interview. It's called Africa Holds Up a Mirror to India. It's an interview with Shobhana Shankar. She's an associate professor at Stony Brook University in African Studies. And she's being interviewed by Zachariah Mampili. I'm sorry if I mispronounced his last name. I'm not sure. He is a PhD, also a professor at the City University of New York, and also in African Studies. I don't know if I said that already. Oh, and here you go. There's that quote by Tarun Vijay. I urge you to read through this interview in its entirety, but as you can see, a lot of it, especially in the beginning, is focused on Shobhana's book, as it says there. It is called An Uneasy Embrace, Africa, India, and the Spectre of Race. I got this book this morning. I finished it in about 5-6 hours because it is an academic book, but man, is it an easy read. It's got citations, it's got references, and yeah, get this book. €12 is what I paid for it to get the ebook. 20 if you get it in paperback. It's a very small price to pay to get your head in the right space to really do the work and undo the mess that we're in. And here are the two biggest takeaways that I got from this book as like the biggest answers that I had for my question, right? First biggest takeaway of mine from this was when I learned about the sheer amount of work that has been done and is still being done today by Afrocentrist intellectuals to expand the theoretical framework of blackness in order to include Dravidian people specifically in it, and that way we can fight together against Indo-pessimism and Afro-pessimism together, which I thought was amazing. A lot of that work was pioneered by the first president of Senegal. His name was Léopold Senghor, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. He did extensive research on this. Unfortunately, it did seem to me that it was very one-sided, like it was a lot of work being done by Africans and very few South Asian or Dravidian collaborators in that. And it doesn't even matter if we're, like, if there's no data that supports that we come from Africans, because for the time being there isn't. Just the spiritual concept of that work, of that effort really spoke to me. My second biggest takeaway from this book, and I'll leave you with this, it comes right from the last page of the book. I don't mind giving this away because I think it's super valuable. Shobhana Shankar goes ahead and says that Indian anti-blackness is a myth. And it's kind of like, whoa, wait a second. You just spent like 200 and something pages saying that this is a real thing and that we need to work against it. There's been work being done against it and all that, right? How can you say it's a myth? If I'm understanding her correctly, and I hope to God that I am, what she's trying to say is that anti-blackness is not an Indian thing. It's not something that is inherent to the South Asian community. We've learned it from someone, somewhere outside of ourselves. Gee, I wonder who. Professor Shankar goes on to talk about a slew of other things like Hinduism in Africa, the specifically South African problem with Indians, and just a bunch of other stuff. So please get this book, read it, talk about it in your families. Let's get this in our community. We got to get this in the African community as well. We have a lot of post-colonial chains to break. We specifically are hurting the wrong people. We're hurting ourselves. And let's work.
Welcome back. This man from Uganda is in India, and the way he was treated by this police officer speaks volumes, speaks a lot to what's happening that we don't see on camera. I don't know, some people say that this is scripted, some say it's true, but It is what is happening in the ground. It is very, very legit video, and it's it's a very legit reaction on how Indians are towards black people. So I give example of Kenya, where we have Indians people, but somehow they are so racist towards black people when it comes to wages, payments, when it comes to, everything. Even the videos where black Indians explain how they are being discriminated is out there. But Indians came to Africa through the same master, because during colonization, Africans were, for example, in Kenya, we were colonized by the British, and the British brought Indians people to Africa to build the rails for them. And we were all under the same master, but they were the land of black people. So we took care of them very well, of the Indians. And even we accepted Indians as one of the tribes here in Africa, more so in Kenya. Indians are one of the tribes. We had 42 tribes, but we added India. Now we became 43 tribes. They have rights. They can stand for political seats. We have an Indian who have stood for a political seat somewhere in Rift Valley, and we don't have issue with them. And this tells me how some of Indians are too racist towards black people. But black people, they don't care. Black people are not racist towards them. Black people respects everyone. And that's the beauty of being black. You don't see anyone color as, too bad. So I don't think if it is that the mentality that we always think black people are always at fault, criminals, and, looking bad and everything. But everyone with the brown color, like white color, is good. But Indians, you have to know this, that you came to Africa to work in Africa, and you are brought by the same master as the master who was controlling over us, was the same master who was looking over you. And the people who do not have to be racist, Indians are in my list of the people who supposed not to be racist, because the Indian nation has too many black people too, and yet they are Indians. So we have Indians who have, this white skin or brown skin, and we have Indians who are black Indians. So when we talk about racism, India does not supposed to be on that list. You get me? Because it's not bad to be black. Black is just a color. These things. But somehow you want to feel superior. Somehow you want to hold, that Buga thing over Africans. Because everyone right now is taking Africa for granted. Everyone is talking about Africa. Even some people there in Syria where they're having problems. But whenever you ask them which one is the poorest country, they'll say Africa. You saw a video one day of young teens ladies saying Africa is the poorest country on earth, and yet they are from Syria. So Africa has become a pathway. Everyone want to have a walk on it and just go, you dust your legs and go. That's not how we want to run Africa. So Indians, you know what to do. Stay humble. We gave you space in Africa. Stay humble, because we are humble to you too. We take care of you. So I believe I have Indians who are watching this video, but more so the video that I've just seen of this young boy being harassed by a police officer is so awkward, and is something that needs not to be to be repeated again, because this student or this young man has the visa, and the visa explains it's for international people, and yet this police officer kept on asking and asking. I don't know what to say about the video. I don't have much to say, but I know you have much to say about the video. Tell me what you think on the comment section about this video. I am the Kenyan Beast. Until next episode, peace be with you.